Button is one of the most commonly used components for creating UI in a lot of applications, a lot of mobile applications, and it's highly used in Android applications as well. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to create button UIs in Jetpack Compose. Let's start by creating a new project. Empty compose activity I select, and then I change the name of the application from my application to Jetpack Compose Button. I don't change the package name, save location, and minimum SDK. It's 21. I press finish and wait for the project to be created. Alright, as the project is being created, I get rid of the default composables that Android Studio has added for us, and I also empty the content of set content. We will need our own content. We will add our own content here. I will create a composable just for working with the buttons. So I'm gonna create comp. I type comp and then press enter. Let's see if Android Studio helps us. Yes, it creates a placeholder for composable. I name it button UI, and then inside it, because we might want to create several buttons, I'm gonna use a column again. Also, let's give our column some modifier, like some size, fill max size, for example. Fill max size. Okay, that's fine. And then inside the column, the composable that I'm gonna show you that we will use for creating button UIs is named button, and it is from the material design package. So I select button and press enter. It creates the placeholder for the button. As you can see, it has a required parameter named onClick, and it is actually the handler for the click of the button, as we will talk about later. But for now, note that the button is a composable that follows the convention of other composables. So it has an area, it has some dimensions, width and height, and it has a body. Inside the body, you can add any UI that you like. For example, some text. Usually we'll add some text inside the button because it's gonna act like the label as the label of that button. So I use text here. You can also use basic text from the foundation package. That's fine. For the text, I pass in, for example, Jetpack Compose, and then or show message, for example. Let's imagine it's gonna show us some random message. And then the second parameter, modifier, some padding. Let's give it some padding. But we're good without it. I don't use a padding. The button has some default padding, I guess. And then inside the onClick, we will need to do something about the change, about the state change, because the button click by the user is kind of the change in the state of your application. So you need to manage it if you are going to do something about that click. For example, if the user clicks to see some message, if the user clicks to send some data to the server, and so on and so forth. So before handling the click, let's see what we have by adding a preview. I type prev and then press enter. It creates a preview. I name it button UI preview. All right. Inside the button UI preview composable, I call button UI, and then we go to the split view of our code in order to see our preview and wait for the application to be built and allow our preview to appear for us. Let's refresh it. Seems like we have to wait a little bit for the application to be built, and then we can see the preview. There we go, it's going to show up. Nice. So we have this, we have our button, but currently if we test it, we will not see any behavior from the button because we don't do anything in the state handling part, in the click handling part. So to test it, I start the interactive mode by pressing this icon that has a finger on a screen. We wait for the interactive mode to launch, and now if we click it, doesn't do anything, and it's no surprise because we haven't implemented anything. So here, actually, when that happens, we can ask the button to show a message. And how do we do it? Again, I'm gonna resort to state. State is very important, guys. I define a state variable, var, let's define it as var, val message. I name it message, you can name it whatever you like. By, remember, mutable state of, let's import mutable state of, and remember, okay. Also, we will need to import get value and set value for our delegate to work. So I'm gonna import them manually. In our list of imports, import Android X .compose.runtime.getValue and import Android X .compose.runtime.setValue. And I move on and see no errors anymore here. Okay, first of all, we will not have any message, but we expect the message to appear once the button is clicked. So the message is empty first, but later it will change when the button is clicked. The button is clicked and the message is changed to some arbitrary message, like for example, welcome to Jetpack Compose development. Nice. And where do we show the message? Because we're inside a column, we have a good opportunity to do that. I'm gonna add a text here and specify the value of its text as message, because message is of the type string and we can use it for its parameter. Text, and let's also give it some nice style. Text style dot, actually let's use material theme dot typography dot h2. Yeah, it should do it. The IDE is a little bit striving in terms of memory, so it lags a little bit, takes some time for the autocompletion to work. Let's minimize the left part, it really annoys me sometimes. And we have the text, we have the button, and the text will only show the message welcome to Jetpack Compose development once the button is clicked. Also, I don't like the button here, so I'm gonna center it by asking the column to do it via one of its parameters. It's horizontal alignment parameter. Horizontal alignment, and its value has to be something of the type arrangement. It has to be something of the type alignment.horizontal. So alignment dot center horizontally. Yeah, the IDE is really having a hard time with memory and CPU, so it lags a little bit. I have to be a little bit considerate about it and take it easy on him. And now we have center horizontal. It should be fine. Let's see what we have. Let's refresh our UI. Seems like it is appearing, it's refreshing. Another refresh might be a good idea. Okay, we have our UI, show message. Let's click it. There we go. Our message appeared. Welcome to Jetpack Compose development. So you see that we easily added a change in state by handling the unclick parameter of our button, and then inside that handler that was a lambda in turn, we just changed a state parameter, a state variable that we had defined using delegates. It was message, and we changed its value to this text. Actually, I'm thinking of something to make this a little bit more usable, this button UI. We can pass in the message. We can pass in some message to display for us, not just this hard-coded message. For example, I'm gonna define a message variable somewhere, for example, inside my preview, var message okay, like this. And actually I can define it as a state. Why not? Message by remember mutable state of and the remember has to be finished with the ending curly brace. Okay, and I'm gonna pass it to button UI. So button UI has to input a parameter, has to have an input parameter. So button UI, I define a parameter for it called message. Its type is text. Message. You can see that this message that is received as a parameter, its type is a string. It is different from the name of the parameter that is here. All right. Actually, I can change it to message text to avoid confusion. Message text. It's better now. And now I can pass in the value of welcome to Jetpack Compose application development. I also changed the message so that you see some slight difference in the UI, but basically it would do the same thing. And pass in message to button UI this time. And since this is only a variable, we could have defined it as a normal variable. It didn't have to be a state. Okay, now let's refresh our preview and see what we have. Okay, it's refreshing. Show message, and there we go. Welcome to Jetpack Compose application development. And we can try without the state as a normal variable by commenting this out, val message, and even just passing the text to button UI, just like this. Yeah, passing the text that you like to display as the message to your button UI. Refresh the UI. Okay, show message. There we go. Welcome to Jetpack Compose app development. Nice. So you see that using button in Jetpack Compose is very straightforward. The composable that you will use for this is the button composable from the material package from Jetpack Compose, and it has a content that you can customize. You can add any content that you like, especially a text composable, some text composables to act as the label of that button. And then you can handle its state change by handling the click inside its onClick lambda, and then change some state inside that lambda, as we did in the onClick section. You can see for the onClick parameter, we had a lambda that inside the lambda we changed some state value to a new value. That was how we changed the state, and we allowed some event to happen. We allowed some message to display for the user. So that's it for how to create button composable and button UI in Jetpack Compose. I hope that you liked this video.